Mark, how you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
I am fired up again. Another podcast, another video podcast on YouTube. This is a new experience for us, but we got a few really great comments on what we put out last week on the origins of Gapology. So I'm excited to do another one with you this week.
Yeah, the Gapology guys are back.
Yeah,
They said it wouldn't happen.
right, right. And hey, hello to everybody. So welcome back to the Gapology Guys podcast, and we're excited to join you all for our topic tonight, which is going to be all about IMBAR. So IMBAR is our second book that came out, and this is IMBAR: The Pathway of Transformation, and we published it back in 2016. And as we start to get these YouTube podcasts going, we really wanted to start by laying a foundation of information for anybody that's going to be following us, so that you kind of know what's all what it's all about, what all the books are about here at Gapology Institute, the things that we put out here, and so we thought we'd spend a little time tonight to start walking through IMBAR, and the model and all that, and how it came about and how it's helped many leaders like you. So, Mark, do you want to sort of kick it off here?
Yeah, so we apologize for the title. Um, it's an incredible book that has changed many lives and will change millions of lives going forward. But the title sort of sets it back. It's an acronym, IMBAR, and we decided to stick with it. So we found in our Gapology research and our examination and time spent with the A leaders and the C leaders that identity creates mindset, creates the behaviors of that leader, creates the actions of the people around them, their team, which creates the results. So we decided to write about IMBAR. And we found that it's an incredible mapping process where you can, create your own your own identity. It's your choice. And you can literally become who you want to become. And we developed a process of mapping executives and others to their transformed identity. And it's been an amazing process for us. And you can be who you want to be. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. And I sort of like the name. I know instantly people don't know what that means, but I think it sticks with you. Once you understand it, you understand the model, how it all fits together. It really sticks with you. In fact, Jolieanne and I, we talk about IMBAR all the time because it really does fit regardless of where you are in your life. So whether you're at home or you're at work or you're in certain situations or whatever, it fits. And so I something that I think once you learn it, you'll remember it.
Yeah, and we joke around, but we actually believe that 100 years from now, everyone will know IMBAR.
Yeah.
So we're just on the cutting edge of it. The other crazy thing is everyone has multiple IMBARs. They just don't know it. And you have a personal IMBAR, which might be your identity at home with your family. You have a professional IMBAR, which is your identity at work. You then can have, and you can create an organizational IMBAR, which we've done, which is the identity of the team that you lead. And that's incredible. We've had great successes with that. And then the fourth type that we found is situational. So you can literally create an IMBAR, an identity, and the whole continuum from there for a given situation and be more effective in a given situation. So we call that POPs, which stands for personal, organizational, professional, which is your work, and then situational. So we found four distinctly different types of IMBAR. All of them work, and we actually all have them within us, and we just need to learn how to leverage them.
Mhm.
You are not born with your identity. It's your choice. And when you start teaching people that and teaching leaders that, it is unbelievable. Where we saw it was the A team and C team. So the top performers and the bottom performers um, had distinct identities, distinctly different identities. Um, the A team owned the results, and they knew that as leaders, they were going to lead the charge through the team. They were totally different. And the C team tended to lack significant identity, which carried out over the acronym IMBAR.
Hmm.
What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, yeah. And the thing I think is interesting, and you mentioned this last week when we talked about Gapology with the C players and the A players, and that we often saw that the C players were sort of hiding in the weeds. And with the right leadership using Gapology, they can really honestly skip the whole B level and really move to A. And I think part of that really was because of the identity shift that can happen as a strong leader with using Gapology and some of the tools there can really help them instantly move from that C to A just because they shift that identity.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, can I walk them through IMBAR then?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so the acronym again is identity, which is who we are, creates mindset, our attitude, how we feel, which creates our behavior as the leader, if you're looking at it from a professional standpoint, which creates the actions of our team, the A, or the actions of those around us, which creates the result. So that IMBAR is a continuum. And the amazing thing is that I and M are in your mind. BA and R are actual physical things, but the I and the M, the thing that starts it all, is what you think. It's in your mind, and that's been the incredible part. And as we've taught people, we have worked through that continuum, IMBAR, but we have given them methods to develop their I and their M. The other crazy thing that happened, and I'll go back to you in a second, Brian, is we found that if you know the R, you know the outcome that you want to achieve. If you already know that, you can just plug it in and work backwards. So IMBAR works forwards and backwards. If you know the R, you can determine the actions of the team that are needed, the behavior of the leaders, the mindset of the leader, and what their identity needs to be to achieve that R. And it all comes together. It may sound complicated, it is not. It is fairly simple, and it literally works. So,
Yeah, and I'll put the images on the screen.
oh, that's great.
Like we did last week. I think that'll help people, and that's one of the benefits of doing it on video. We've tried to describe this verbally on our Gapology Radio audio podcast, and that's a little more difficult. But I'll make sure to include the images here so people can see them, and that will help clarify this. But a couple things I wanted to mention there as you were describing the I and the M being in your mind. In the book we described it as I and M as thought transformation, and the BAR is the whole performance transformation. So that's more of that physical thing. But the two are definitely connected. The I and the M, that's cultural change, long term gain, lasting change. The BAR, if you only live in the BAR, if you're only as a leader focus on developing behaviors and actions and creating the results, if you're only living there, that's sort of almost a reactive change, short-term gain type of things. So that's why it's incredibly important for leaders in the business world, professional world, to understand that you need to look at both. You need to look at that whole thought transformation part first, and then see how it's connected to that performance transformation.
Yeah. So, yeah, well said. So if you, let me come back to that. If you know the R, if you know the R, so let's say you're at the end of the year and you know the actual results of the team. You can plug in the R and work backwards and autopsy if it was a great R, how it happened, which is an incredible learning. If it didn't meet your expectations, you can see where the gaps were in the team's behavior and performance and your behavior and performance. And it becomes this incredible autopsy of results. You can use it after the fact. And again, if you know the R that you're going for, you can plug it in and figure out how to get there. It is pretty amazing. The thing that we do with our clients for this is we often will begin with a storyboard so that they connect with their current IMBAR. So most people don't know who they are. The current IMBAR is difficult to put together, but we do a storyboard about their life, about what they're most proud of, about what they've achieved, and it helps us create a current IMBAR. Once we are at a current IMBAR, we can then have a discussion about who you want to be. And we call that the transformed state IMBAR. And that's what IMBAR is all about, becoming who you want to become. And then we develop a plan for transformation for that transformed state. And the process is incredibly effective. It can take some time, but it works. And we've got some incredible success stories from that. And it's transformative.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And that working backwards, I think, although understanding how the I creates the M creates the B and going in that order, that's how you understand how it all works. When you're trying to develop this whole transformed state and understanding your current state, you almost have to work backwards. And it wasn't really until we started almost teaching this that we discovered the power of doing it that way. To start at the R and say, all right, so what was the action of the team that created the R? Okay, so what were your behaviors as a leader that drove that action? And we started working backwards. And then, how did you think and feel? What was your mindset around this stuff? And then who are you? Who have you been to deliver this? And working that backwards, that's where you really get that, I think, just a huge awareness of the power of all this.
Yeah, and we have used this with individual clients,
Hmm.
underperformers. We were hired by companies to work with underperformers. It's incredibly powerful there. We've been hired by organizations to work with the organization to come up with their MBAR. We've been hired by organizations to take their top performers to a new level. And it has worked in each of those examples, and it's been pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Once you connect with it, I'm sure what you're hearing sounds a bit complex. It's not. It is not. The I creates the M, creates the B, creates the A, creates the R. If you want to work backwards, we talk about reveal. The R reveals the results, reveal the actions of the team or of those around you, which reveal your behavior, which reveal your mindset and your identity. So again, it works for you personally, professionally, organizationally, and situationally. And you likely have an IMBAR at home that is quite different than your IMBAR professionally. And you can develop an IMBAR for the organization that reflects what you believe in and how to move that organization forward. And the situational thing is pretty crazy.
I think you can certainly just reflect on this on your own, but where the real power comes in is where you have kind of a, a, a third party, maybe a coach leading you through this. If you're a leader and you identify on your team that, hey, there's some people that would benefit from this, guiding that conversation can be super beneficial. I will say, be ready for emotional connection to identities. I've led several of these, And some people get it right away and they move through this process pretty smoothly. But some people get really almost defensive and they start to um, try to over explain like their thoughts and their and why they did things. And it's not necessarily about that, but that whole process of exploration, it requires a coach to be able to do this in a really a supportive way. So just kind of be prepared for that, I would say.
Yeah, it takes on a life of its own.
Mhm.
So each of us have our own identity, and each organization has its own identity, and it's like wow. We have been so gratified though by talking to people that have learned it, people we haven't worked with, people that simply read the book and how it's transformed their life and the life of their family potentially. So it's been one of our most rewarding experiences.
Mhm.
Can I tell them some of the scenarios?
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you. You sent me a note about gift cards. I'm not sure what that one is. What's
Yeah,
this?
so I walked into an executive conference room. So picture 7 people around the table, and we were rolling out Gapology with their organization. So we're not on the topic of IMBAR at that moment. They're struggling with something in their results, and I was there because of Gapology. And I listened for a moment, and I said, hold on a second." And I walked up to the whiteboard. You know how I love whiteboards.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I wrote IMBAR across the whiteboard, something they had never seen. And I said, what are you trying to accomplish? Tell me again. And they said, we need a 19% increase in gift cards for the fourth quarter. Okay. So under the R, I plugged in 19% increase in gift cards. Pretty simple. Fourth quarter. Yeah. Restaurant chain. Okay. Makes sense. What are we currently trending at? We're up 3. Okay, wait a minute. So you want +3 to become +19? Okay. So under the R, it said +19 gift cards. I then worked backwards to the A. I said, okay, executives of the company, what would be 3 actions that the waiters and waitresses would take to achieve +19? And they came up with those 3. They were pretty simple. Imagine offering gift cards at every table with every checkout. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. So we plugged all those 3 things in. I then said, okay, the B, what are the 3 things that the general managers of your 1,000 restaurants are going to do to create the A? And they said, oh, this, and this. So they came up with it pretty quickly. So we plugged that in under the B, and we had that represent the general manager and the regional manager's behavior. We then came to the M, and I said, okay, what can you as an organization do to create a mindset around gift cards? And they said, oh God, we're going to add it to our advertising. We're going to be all about it. We're going to publish results. They had all these things, and it was like, oh yeah, that's your mindset. And then the identity was that they would be the industry leader in gift cards.
Mhm.
So they wanted the +3. I'm back up the R column to become +19 for the fourth quarter, which, by the way, in that industry drives the first quarter sales because fourth quarter gift cards are often Christmas gifts, and then everybody comes in and redeems them in Q1. So, Brian, what do you think the results were?
I don't know. What were they?
So the +3 did not become +19. It became +31,
Hmm.
and it changed everything. So they learned an organizational IMBAR in essence, or a situational IMBAR really, in that moment that they've used on, and it works every time. We did that, I'm not joking, in under 30 minutes, and we created millions of dollars of additional sales because we knew IMBAR.
Mhm.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's incredible. And I think so. I mean, that result is incredible. I think the other piece that goes along with it, though, is now the wisdom of applying IMBAR, they can then take and apply to other areas of their business. Now they know that process, right? Um, yeah, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it, IMBAR works. It's
Mhm.
Brian and I have talked. It's sort of in our DNA. We were hired by an organization to work with an underperformer, a single underperformer who was the son of the owner, and they were in the financial services business. And I came in and worked with him, and we were going nowhere. But I knew IMBAR, and I said, "What do you like to do outside of work? What do you think about? What do you dream about?" He said, "I'd like to be a marathon runner." I said, "A marathon runner? 26 miles
No
without
chance.
stopping? Who could do that?
Yeah,
Come on."
yeah, not me.
So we created an IMBAR for him to become a marathon runner. He had run in high school, I guess. And anyhow, in 90 days of working on Marathon Runner as the IMBAR, he made it 26 miles without stopping. He completed a marathon in 90 days.
Mhm.
It changed his life because we simply then went back to business and talked about everything he had learned as a marathon runner. And we applied it to financial services. And guess who became the top performer in the company?
Mhm. The
He
marathon.
did.
Yep.
So from a bottom performer to a top performer because he connected with the power of IMBAR and he knew he could run marathons. If
Mhm.
you can run marathons, you can sell financial products.
Yeah.
And it's the same training and the agility and the focus and how
Mhm.
you structure your week. And the marathon running thing was crazy. I mean, he had to do these specific workouts every day, had to eat specific things, had to practice and run short distances, and it all came together. And it's no different if you're in the financial services business.
Mhm.
So he learned how to manage IMBAR
Mhm.
and to become who he wanted to become, a marathon runner and a top performer in his father's firm.
Yeah.
Changed everything.
Yeah.
IMBAR changed everything.
Yeah, it's just incredible the power of this, the power of just changing how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself. That whole identity thing. That's just so, I think, under recognized. People don't recognize the power of that. They just kind of assume, hey, this is who I am. I was born this way. My parents raised me this way. This is who I've become. But, if they can just shift how they see themselves, and one of the things, Mark, is that the power of that situational IMBAR. So, applying it to you go into for a job interview, putting yourself in that identity of the person that would have this job, would be the greatest ever in this job. Putting yourself in that identity, that creates the mindset that you need to nail that interview. Everything just really connects.
Yeah, if you walk into the interview with your IMBAR completed for the role,
Yep.
you're the candidate.
Right.
The most amazing thing, though, to Brian and I is that nobody really knows about IMBAR. So those of you that are lucky enough tonight or whenever to be listening to us, this is life changing, and it works, and we just can't tell you how impactful it has been to the group of people that we have worked with on this. Um, I mean, I didn't have any hope for the financial planner guy, and suddenly the marathon topic came up because I asked that question, and everything changed. I had another one where I asked someone what they're most proud of in their life, and they said being a parent. I said, okay, let's draw out that IMBAR. So we drew that IMBAR out, and because they were a great parent, they figured out how to be great in their role, in their profession as well.
Mm-hmm.
So people can connect with this, and it's amazing. And you as a leader can connect with it, again, for yourself. You can help your team with it, and you can create an organizational IMBAR. We did an organizational IMBAR with a nonprofit up in Minneapolis, and they had to come up with an additional $5 million for the year in donations. And so we plugged that into the R, because we knew the R, and we worked backwards, and we came up with their IMBAR, and they came up with $5 million additional for the year, and it worked.
Yeah.
It wasn't 30 million, but it was 5 million.
Mm-hmm.
And in the orphanages and the schools that they operate, that mattered because it affected the lives of a great number of people. And the people that attended that session who learned the power of IMBAR were impacted by that within their life as well.
Yeah.
They learned the power of it. It was there. It was real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the things to understand about organizational IMBAR, you don't have to be a CEO to create an organizational IMBAR. Just your team that you're leading, even if you have a small work group, you can create your own organizational IMBAR for that work group. I worked with an organization that we did that. It was just a small, I think it was like 10 people on the team, and we laid it out, and it can be really impactful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think we've given them enough.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's good. Um, I guess any other last comments then, Mark, to wrap it up here?
We know how to do this, and we've done it again with organizations. We've done it with individuals. We've done it with companies and all of their executives. That was incredibly impactful. We had great success with that. We were assigned to IMBAR all executives within an organization, and then coach them on their IMBAR for 1 year, and it worked.
Oh.
And so we're available to consult on this. You've likely never heard about IMBAR, and we apologize for the title. But it is an identity mapping process. It's a plan to transform to what you can become, and most people don't understand they can be who they want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk more about this in coming episodes as well. So stay tuned for that. But to learn more about IMBAR or Gapology or any of our other books, you can see some on my shelf back here, or any of our products, video-based courses that we have, other services. Head on over to our website, gapology.org. We've got all the details right there, so you can see all that. But
yeah, IMBAR is available on Amazon. We have not done it on Audible yet. Gapology's on Audible and Amazon and other ways, but IMBAR we haven't got there yet. We will, but it can change everything for generations to come.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But thanks for everybody for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe to these so you're notified when we put up new episodes. But otherwise, everyone have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you all soon.
The Gapology guys, we're the IMBAR guys too.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later, Mark.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brian.